sometimes our favorite decorations have a colorful history behind them, and a dream catcher is no exception. It originated from the Ojibwe tribe found in parts of Canada and northern United States. The story goes that there was a spider woman who took care of the children and people on the land. But when the tribe began spreading, it became difficult for her to reach all the children. So mothers and grandmothers created magical webs that would filter out bad dreams, catch them in the webs, and disintegrate at sunrise. So now that you know the history, let's get started. I used an embroidery hoop and disconnected the two by just unscrewing that top knot, but I kept the inside one to work with, and I used an 8-inch hoop. And after that I used my suede string and wrapped a decent amount around my hand, but I had to guesstimate how much I needed, and I actually ended up being short, but it's an easy and unnoticeable fix in case that happens to you at home. With my string in hand and some glue, I now begin the wrapping. I just used an all-purpose tacky glue that worked amazingly, but hot glue or super glue is great too. And the actual wrapping part is pretty self-explanatory, but if you end up short, no worries. Just cut some more string and start like you did before. And yes, you can see me using a paper clip, but that does have a purpose, I promise. I thought that it would keep it better in place because I was kind of impatient about waiting for the glue to dry. But if you just let the glue dry, there's really no need for that paper clip, so ignore that part. Now get out some string of your choice. I went with embroidery thread, and glue the end on the same way you did with your suede string. The hardest part of this whole process is the webbing part. The best way I can explain it is like an over-under motion. Keep in mind that the looser you loop the string, the wider apart the web will be. It won't look bad, and it may even be something you prefer. I wanted a tighter web with smaller and closer openings. And if you are just going to continue this over-under process until you come as close to the center as you like. I even switched it up and used another color. I just tied the end of the next color onto one of the openings and followed the same process as I have been this entire time. And you get used to this process pretty fast, and it's just a little bit timely, but it's very easy once you get used to what you're doing. This is what my final web looks like. Dream catchers kind of remind me of snowflakes because they all turn out just a little bit different from each other. Once I reached the closing, I just pulled the string upward, cut it, and glued the inside to hold the string shut. To add the tail of the web, I used my embroidery string, and you can also use fabric. I've seen that as well. That looks really cool. And I double knotted it on the hoop. And after that, I strung on some beads, glued them into place, and double knotted the feather at the end of the string and glued that in place as well. I forgot to string on some beads during the webbing process, so I just glued a bead right where the web was closed. And after everything was done, I added the last touch, which was a loop on top to hold the dream catcher. And with this, I just put 2 drops of glue and used my suede string that I had and just held that into place until it dried.